All right, Shalom. I want to first start off giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the men that taught us this truth, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Peace and blessings to the elect of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the Israelites according to the Bible, who are scattered all throughout the four corners of the world. The name of this video is going to be called Edification. As us brothers in the know, meaning the ones that have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures, the word edification, it means to build up. Okay? And what are we supposed to be building up in this truth? We're supposed to be building up, first and foremost, you're supposed to get built up through your teachers. You know, so for us over here at Great Millstone, and that's where the truth is at. You know, and that's just what it is. If you want to get the complete true understanding of the scriptures, you're gonna find it at starting with the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone and the different elders of the different Great Millstone camps, and the brother and all the different brothers that teach this word in truth and in sincerity. Okay, I'm not gonna pull no scriptures because I'm actually on the road, but Lord willing, I'm gonna quote some scriptures. But it's many scriptures that talk about edification. Okay, Paul said it a lot in his epistles. He said, "Do all things unto edification." He also said that charity, which that charity is brotherly love, edified. And there's many scriptures on edification. Now, like I said earlier, we're supposed to, when you come into this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you heard somebody told you about you as an Israelite. Whether you heard it on the streets, brothers teaching the word on the streets, on the highways and byways, or whether you heard it through the internet, or whether somebody else heard it on the internet or ran across a camp, and then they came to you and told you, "Hey man, you an Israelite," or "We the Israelites." However they came to you and broke it down, you know. And then the scriptures tell us in Romans, the 10th chapter, that faith cometh by hearing of the word. Okay, and who are you hearing the word from? It also tells you that who you hear the word from in that same book and chapter, Romans 10. It tells you that you hear it from the preacher, or in other words, the prophets, because the word preacher means prophet. Okay, so you hear the word from the prophets, and then you believe in the wisdom and knowledge that they're pushing out according to the scriptures. Okay, and from that point on, you're beginning your journey of being edified. Okay, which means to be built up. And then once you built up enough with a foundation, with a solid foundation, meaning you know the basics of the scriptures. Okay, you can go in and break down the milk of the scriptures, which confounds the world. You know, all these people in the world, these so-called Christians, these so-called pastors, these so-called preachers, okay, ministers, they give themselves these titles, and they don't live up to the titles, you know, because they're teaching you basically, what is that called, plantation with the Apostle Tahar, termed that plantation Christianity. Okay, that's what you're learning. And they holding these different titles that you read about in the scriptures, and they're not those titles really don't belong to them. You know, they belong to the true teachers of the Bible, man. All right, so once you get that foundation up under you, like I said, according to Isaiah, the 28th chapter, starting around the 9th, I don't know if it's the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th verse, around there, it tells you, the Most High tell you, whom, or he asks a question, whom shall I give knowledge, and whom shall I make to understand doctrine? Roughly paraphrasing. And it says, them that are drawn from the breast, them that are drawn from the breast and weaned from the milk. Okay, so, and then it says, precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Okay, so you learn how to go through the scriptures and break the basics down. So being drawn from the breast and weaned from the milk, meaning you're going to start off with the basics, you know, the basics being what? Proving that salvation is only for the Israelites. You know, proving that the Israelites are people of color. You know, pretty much the nonsense that they teach you in the so-called Christian church, being able to combat that, I would say, is being able to pull down them strongholds that they teach. And most brothers came up in the Christian church. Or you had family members that were part of the Christianity, if you wasn't into it, you know? So you know about the basic nonsense. You know, when you come into this truth, you know the nonsense that they teach in the church. And if you're able to go through the scriptures and pull down those strongholds that they teach, I would say that pretty much, for the most part, covers the milk. Like I said, proving who salvation is for, you know, and proving that the Israelites are people of color, even though we understand that us Israelites are scattered throughout the four corners of the world and mingled amongst the nations. And now you have Israelites that you know actually look like the other nations. Okay? But to give a person an understanding, you know, you telling them that the Israelites that we read in the scriptures were people of color. Okay? Pulling down that stronghold that there is no hell. Hell is really, according to what they teach in the church, is really just Greek mythology. Okay? Knowing, being able to go through the scriptures and prove the name of the Lord, Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai. And we're not talking about the pronunciation of it, but just going through the breakdown of the name. You know, I'll leave it at that. Going into the, being able to roughly go into the Gentiles that you read about in the New Testament, that those were not people of other nations, that those were actually Israelites that lost their way. And eventually, you know, all Israel lost their way. We all became Gentiles. We lost our identity, we lost our heritage through slavery. You know? Tells you that in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Okay, and I may be leaving out few other topics, but basically you learn the milk, and then as you get built up on the milk or edified through the milk, okay, because you need the basics to start your building. That's your foundation, okay. Then you drawn from the breast. Then you get pulled off the milk, so to speak, and then you get built up or edified on I'll just use the word deeper things in the scriptures, more spiritual things in the scriptures. You get off the basics, and you grow into or you build into other topics of the scriptures. You get into history a little more, you get into the Hebrew, and that's part of getting into the Hebrew is part of the milk too, learning what we would say in English, learning your ABCs or learning the Hebrew alphabet, okay? Because we're getting taught all over again as a baby. So you got to learn the Hebrew alphabet, learn how to pronunciate the Hebrew. Learn how to write the name of the Most High and His Son in Hebrew. Learn the Lord's Prayer, in Hebrew. Okay? And you never stop nourishing the foundation, meaning just because you got the milk, you got a foundation upon you, now you just leave off from the milk. Now you just focus on the deep things in the scriptures. No. You have to stay, how can I put it? You have to stay giving the nutrients to your foundation, okay? You have to stay on the milk. But while you're on the milk and you have that solid foundation up under you because you drank that milk for such a period of time, now you're going into different things and different topics and you're growing, but you always constantly, consistently, I'll say, consistently you nourish your foundation, Like, for example, if you're building a house, you lay the slab down, you lay the concrete down, and you have to let the concrete has to settle or cure. Cure meaning it has to harden, okay? So you can have a solid foundation that you can start building upon, okay? After so many years of that foundation being left unattended to, or just, you done built upon the foundation and you done lived in the house, okay? You're going to have to do some foundation work to make sure that foundation stays solid and not uneven, If brothers that know about a little bit about carpentry and construction, and I'm not in that profession, but I do know a little, some basic concepts of it, So you gotta, like, if you was gonna sell that house, you'll have to make sure the foundation was right. And you don't have to necessarily do that, but if you want to, sell it for a good price and show the buyers the quality of the place, you're going to have to do remodeling. You're going to have to redo the installation, redo the roofing, and you're going to have to redo or basically refurbish the foundation, for lack of better words. Okay, so the same thing in this truth. We're not gonna wait till the things get bad or to a particular point to where you say, "Oh, I need to revisit the milk." No, you stay on the milk. Consistently. You stay watering, like how you go outside and water. You would water your lawn so that so that you can have life and growth in the grass. Okay, the same thing with the basics of the scriptures. You gotta water yourself, so to speak, with the water yourself, so to speak, so that your foundation can stay solid. I just say it like that. And you watering yourself with what? The word. The word is the water. And you going into the basics. Just like a professional athlete, whether it be football, basketball, whatever. When you no matter which level you get on, if you get all the way to the professional, well, we talking about the professional level, even though you done started from maybe grade school or what they call that, pop Warner, and then you start in middle school, and then high school, you go on to play in college, and then you go to the professional level. Once you go to the professional level, just because you're a professional now, you're pretty much an expert at the sport. They still do the basic drills prior to the game and in practice. Not just prior to the game, but before practice and during practice. And I'll say this, before the game and even in the game, because you're constantly using basic concept and technique in the game, actually in the game. Like layups for you play basketball, a professional basketball player, they warm up, they doing basic layups. Right hand layup, left hand layup. In the game, they gonna do basic layups in the game. And that's just basics. You learn that in when you first starting off with the sport, how to do a basic layup. So the same thing for this truth. You never stop dealing with the milk, the basics. You always gonna deal with the milk, man. On your journey of edification, which means to build up. You constantly building, but you gotta constantly work on that foundation, or keep that foundation tight or solid, which is staying solid on the basic understanding of the scriptures. The basic scriptures you go to and to break down and teach the Bible, okay? What else am I leaving out? Before I close out, I got a few more thoughts I want to get out real quick. So maybe not, man. And that's pretty much it. I was just thinking about it because we still building. We constantly gonna be building up until we get delivered up out of here. Hopefully we of the elect. We are of the hopeful elect, because as of now, we doing the work. We going out teaching, praying, and we're steady building up. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say too. Was once you get that foundation under you to where you're a teacher, and you're built up to the point where you can teach. Now, it's your duty to build up. Just the same way you heard men and you learned from men and they built you up. Men of the Lord, teachers, prophets, Now in turn, you are a teacher. And now it's your turn to help. As you still being edified, you're still being built up. Now you're building up. You building up men in the faith, okay? By teaching the word, by teaching the basics. Going into different topics. Okay? So that's pretty much it. This truth is all about edification. We're trying to build up to Yahushua. You read in Ephesians, the 4th chapter, about measuring up to the stature of Yahushua. And that's what we're trying to build up to the stature of Yahushua. And we're gonna continue uh striving for perfection, building until we get delivered up out of here, man. And it's almost that time. You know, we see the prophecies speaking according to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. The prophecies are coming to pass. The microchip, people are being chipped. People are using the microchip to buy and sell. Perfect example being that company in Wisconsin that had the 50 employees volunteer to take the chip, and they can access getting in the facility, and they also can buy and sell. Well, not sell, but they can buy. At that particular job, it was snacks, but they could, nonetheless, they could buy using that chip. So the prophecies are speaking. And we see the Third World War, speaking. Now, it's at the doorsteps of the world, and it's definitely at the doorsteps of America, meaning the Third World War, which is going to be a nuclear war, and missiles are going to destroy this place. And simultaneously, as this place is being destroyed, the elect of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the Israelites, will receive salvation here in America, and many other Israelites scattered throughout the four corners of the world that's also a part of the elect will also be delivered. But just speaking on America, is going to be completely destroyed by the missiles at the same time of the destruction, or right before the destruction hit. The elect will be delivered up. Okay? And we are to edify and be edified until that time. So with that, that's it. I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory once again to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the men that taught us this truth or edified us, and it's continually edifying through the Spirit. And peace and blessings to the elect out there. Shalom.